part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
The 1-1 pitch. Swinging a drive to deep right. Away back. Goal!
And with that Hemi call, it is time for another episode of Guardians of the Land MLB podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I am Mike Vorhies. Across from me, as always, the man, the meteorologist extraordinaire, and who will be filling in on Fox 8 tomorrow morning, Mr. Bryan Shaw. Good evening, Brian. How are you, good sir?
Good evening. We are currently in weather delay for the start of the Guardians and Yankees, and so we thought that would be a great time to record.
Sure.
And
why not?
We have some news to talk about.
Breaking news. Breaking news. We need a little button. I don't have one. Breaking news. Brian, what's the breaking news? Fill us in.
According to Guardians Perspective, CLE Guard Pro on Twitter, Gabriel Arias is making a return to the Major League roster.
This is great news. However, we talked about this shortly before we hit the record button. It's a bit of a head scratcher for us because, number one, the Guardians will have to make a roster move. And then number two, where's he going to play? Because Ahmed Rosario, the guy that I love to hate and who is playing absolute amazing baseball, and then the hero of Thursday night, Andres Jimenez, who's moving? Where? I don't know. I'm scratching my head, man. It's time to speculate.
Yeah, so my guess is Oscar Gonzalez has been out the last two nights with an abdominal tightness, they called it, and they were going to give him an MRI. So I'm guessing he might go on the injured list. But as you said, if Oscar Gonzalez is hurt, why are you calling up Gabriel Arias? Nolan Jones is ripping the cover off the ball right now in AAA, right. And you would think he would be the call up as a replacement outfielder, because
and
like
he's already on the 40-man. It would be just an easy call up. Here is the other question. Gabriel Arias is just coming off of a rehab assignment. He broke his hand, if you remember, in the minor leagues and has missed, I think, the last 2+ months. He didn't tear it up on his rehab assignment, either struck out at an alarming rate, and he's an infielder. But here's where I get to speculate. This is what I think. I think you're going to see Josh Naylor go to right field. Kwan's going to stay in left. Straw stays in center. And at third base is going to be Gabriel Arias, because the DH will be Jose Ramirez. Then it makes sense, and Arias can play. However, what about Franmil Reyes? Well, Franmil can play right if Naylor's playing first. Simple illustration, which you guys can't see because this is all audio. But
they have already been rotating Naylor, Reyes, Owen Miller on like every third day. Like every third day, one of those guys is off, whether they're playing DH or first base or whatever. So that could make sense. So very interesting. But like we've talked about, you're not moving Andres Jimenez. You're not moving Ahmed Rosario. Jimenez is hitting 326 in June. Rosario hit 360 in June. Jimenez was the hero the other night. This team has been playing some exciting baseball. I know there was a little bit of a stretch in there where it didn't look great and they lost 5 in a row, but I want to after we talk about that, I want to take a look at a bigger picture and get some perspective on
teaser
the last few series.
I like it. A little teaser. Well,
so recap the last few series here for us, Mike.
All right, so here we go, guys. The Guardians currently 39-34, 5 games above 500. They are 1 game back of those pesky Minnesota Twins, whom we won't talk about right now. But like I've said, Brian has said many times, this is a roller coaster, baby. Since our last pod, we knew that the Guardians won the series against the Los Angeles Dodgers, 2-1. Then we won the first 2 games against the Twins, and then lost 5 consecutive games, including being swept by the red-hot Boston Red Sox, who at the time, I believe, had won 6 in a row, I think, before they played us.
They won like 10 of 12 or something.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
they were insane. They were on fire. And then we lost a game. We split a doubleheader with the Twins. And then we've had back-to-back walk-off wins versus those same Twins. Josh Naylor, the hero on Wednesday night. Andres Jimenez, the hero on Thursday afternoon. Both hitting walk-off 2-run home runs to win the game against a beleaguered and belittled Minnesota Twins bullpen, who, for whatever reason, we love to play right now.
So you said Andreas Jimenez is the hero of Thursday night. I'm going to say Rocco Baldelli is the hero of Thursday night, because I wasn't watching that game. I was listening to that game. And
Yep.
Tom Hamilton had some interesting perspective on that. They were not warming up any pitchers.
They didn't have anybody left.
Yeah, they were out of bullpen guys. So that poor guy, I don't know his name.
Tyler Thornburg, who was actually designated for assignment this afternoon. What a way.
They left him out to dry.
Oh, they did. He ended up throwing like 50, I think 56, 57 pitches.
If that game went into extra innings, he was coming back out.
Yeah.
If they didn't win it in the 9th and they had to go into extras, he was coming back out. So that game was almost inevitably going to go in our favor, I feel like.
Yeah,
Rocco. because of doing that. Now, you had mentioned the losing streak and a little bit of an up and down, but I want to take a little bit of a different perspective on this.
Yeah.
When we last recorded, the Dodgers, we had won the Dodgers series or were playing the Dodgers. If when we got to before the Dodgers series, and I had said, all right, we have 3 against the Dodgers, we have 8 against the Twins, and 3 against the Red Sox. And I would have said to you, we will go 7-7. I think we all would have said, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd go 7-7.
So they just went 7-7 versus some very good teams in the Dodgers, the Twins, the Red Sox. And regardless of how it happened, we know you win a series and then you win another series and then you get swept and there's a 5-game losing streak in there and there's a couple of walk-offs. In that 14-game stretch against very good teams, you went 7-7 and you're 1 game out of first place. Now you have another really difficult series against one of the best teams in baseball.
Oh, no, not Yankees. One of the best. They are the best. Record-wise, hitting-wise, pitching-wise, they are the juggernaut that we're all used to. The Yankees have dominated the first half of baseball this year.
So if you can steal 1 out of this, I would say that's a win. If you don't get swept by the Yankees, I say that's a win, because after the Yankee series, we have 4 at Detroit, 3 at KC, Chicago home for 4, the Tigers home for 4, and then at Chicago White Sox for 4. So you have 5 winnable series after the Yankees going into the All-Star break.
And these are all Central Division opponents, which we have played quite a bit already this year.
And below 500 teams.
Exactly. I mean, if you're looking at it, the Yankees are going with Garrett Cole tonight if the game gets underway. Tomorrow, you're looking at Nestor Cortez, who has become unbelievable as a left-handed pitcher. And then the Yankees are going with Jordan Montgomery on Sunday. I agree with you, Brian. I think if we can take 1 of 3, I would be extremely happy. But you know what? I'm selfish. I want 2 out of 3. I want to beat the Yankees.
If you do, because of the bad blood after the last series, if you somehow win this series, I think this team is going to explode. I think it will give them a ton of confidence. The way they play is just so much fun to watch. The Thursday game was wild. The
Yes,
Twins walked them like 7 times.
7. They had
8th inning.
7. They walked 7 times, and they had also been hit by pitches twice.
But then the Guardians only had 1 hit.
Yeah, I remember texting you that.
And then the 8th and 9th inning happened. So but they never give up. They have lots of come from behind victories. It's not over. I think they have like 13 come from behind victories or late or wins in the last at bat or something like that? 17 come from behind.
John Sable tweeted, "We have won 17 games in our last at bat."
17 games,
Yeah.
and that's and that's like at a better pace than the 1995 Indians.
Yes.
So a very exciting team. And we've been saying that for weeks.
We've been saying this all season, that this team was going to be fun to watch because we didn't know what to expect. I know when I said it, I didn't really believe it. I was like, maybe. And like I text you on Thursday, we had one hit. Cue the meme from the movie Major League when Harry Doyle, played by Bob Uecker, one hit. Have one hit. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
after having such an amazing walk-off win the night before, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I had already started writing notes for our next pod that we were going to record, and I wrote the Guardians out. I'm like, they're going to lose. It's fine. And then somebody sent me a text. I believe it was you, Mr. Shaw, who said, "Don't stop believing. You gave up too soon."
I said, LOL, you couldn't wait a half hour.
No. And everything changed. I mean, I got so into that game. I really wanted Jose Ramirez to be the walk-off guy because he had been struggling. He's getting on base, but he's not hitting like he usually does. And I wonder if his thumb is still bothering him. And then Andres Gimenez, who, you know what, Major League Baseball, we have a problem.
So it's funny you say that Jose isn't hitting, the way he should be.
Right.
He still is hitting 260 in June.
I know, but that's lower than the three. Right. What was it? 320 in May and 330 in April. Like,
there's some other guys that are a little more of a concern, and I'm going to rattle off some not so good ones, and then I'll rattle off some good ones. So the bullpen has struggled a bit here. So going from, I believe the last time we recorded, the bullpen ERA has dropped from 4th in Major League Baseball to 8th in Major League Baseball, from a 317 to a 335. Then the opponent batting average has dropped from 1st to 3rd, going from 197 opponent batting average to a 213. So they've struggled a little bit. Still high up there, given how good they were. But in that 2-week time frame, it's been a little bit of a struggle. And one of those people kind of responsible for some of this is Eli Morgan. In the last 2 weeks, given up 7 hits, 6 runs, 2 home runs, opponent average of 350. I think they need to move him down in the priority order a smidge for a little bit here and not put him in such high leverage situations. We also have 2 batters that had some pretty poor Junes. Owen Miller, a 191 batting average, Miles Straw, a 149 batting average in June.
And there's some other guys that we can point the finger at. But hold on, before you were talking about Jose, and then we went on a little tangent there. Major League Baseball released the first half all-star voting list, right? The guys who have made it to the finals, so to speak. Jose Ramirez is our lone representative in the all-star game as of this moment. Reserves haven't been announced.
And that's a shame.
It is a shame because Andres Gimenez deserves to be an all-star. I am not happy that Espinal, whatever the guy's name is from Toronto, how in the world he made it over Andres Gimenez. The system's broken.
Because Toronto is a much bigger market than Cleveland.
I don't care. You go by stats. That, at least that's what how I've always looked at baseball. You look at the numbers, and Andres Gimenez is having a much better season.
But did you vote for All-Star?
I voted like 10 times.
Okay. Did you vote Guardians across the board?
I did, as a matter of fact.
But that's my point. Toronto's population and probably most of that region all probably voted for their player. And that's just enough to do it. That's enough to do it, whether the stats match it or not. It's I think the outside votes were irrelevant. I think it was just pure Toronto fans voting for their guy. And it is unfortunate that Andreas is not at least a potential starter.
He may still
think
make it.
I think he has to. He's batting
He's got to.
326 in June. He had that walk off the other night. He has 9 home runs, tied with Josh Naylor for second on the team in home runs. I mean, who would have guessed that one?
Nope, not me.
He's third on the team in RBIs at 37, behind Jose and Josh Naylor. He's been incredible, and they've been moving him all around, all over the lineup. Last time when we were talking about moving Miles Straw out of the top of the order.
You're getting ahead of me. No, can't say anything else. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about how my man, Bryan Shaw, is a wizard. That's all I'm going to say. When we come back, we're going to talk about why Bryan Shaw is indeed a wizard. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
Hey everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
The R&R podcast going to be rocking and rolling with you because football season is underway. College, Ohio State, the Power Fives, the MAC, the Browns. Michael Regai, are you ready to rock and roll with some football?
Kenny, I've been ready. This is our time of year. This is what R&R is all about. We're going to be with you every week. Kenny just said it. Browns, NFL, Ohio State centric. So you got to stay with us all fall and winter long here on R&R.
That's right. The Regai and Rhoda podcast coming to you here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Subscribe now and don't miss a show.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
All right, we're back from our commercial break. And before we left, I said, when we come back, we're going to discuss why Bryan Shaw is indeed a wizard. Bryan, we talked on our last pod about changing up the batting order, so to speak, and moving Miles Straw out of the leadoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
And you had said this man would be a great choice to take that spot. Who did you say again?
The guy that's currently leading off, and since he started leading off, is batting .333 and has an on-base percentage of .434. Stephen Kwan.
Yeah, and I love that you tweeted out the day that the day after our pod was released, the Guardians made a lineup change. Kwan at the top, Straw at the bottom, and you go, well, Tito finally listened to me, and he obviously did. I mean, that was incredible. I honestly never saw it coming, and then I saw that, and I've had people asking me, is Bryan, is he a psychic? What is he? And I said, no, he is just a wizard. He knows things.
I will say I did predict the future as my living for 14 years. Not baseball, just weather.
You're really, oh man, my goodness. But
it's about trends. It's about statistics. And listen, Stephen Kwan, I'm going to guess, has the best on-base percentage on the team. He does not actually. Jose
wow.
does.
Okay, still. Okay.
Jose at 381 has the best on-base percentage. Stephen Kwan is second. But you were not going to move Jose out of the third hole. So, and it looked like Ahmed Rosario was doing pretty well in number 2. So it just made sense to move Stephen Kwan to number 1. And like I said, in those 2 weeks, his on-base percentage is .434 since we've recorded last.
That's unbelievable. I mean, Stephen Kwan, just the fact that he's been a leadoff guy for only a short time, Like, he gets on base. That's exactly what you need as a leadoff hitter. He hits the ball. He has great plate discipline. He's drawing walks. He's not swinging at bad pitches.
It's the Moneyball meme. Why do you like him so much?
He gets on base.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I snap at you, when I point at you, that means I'm talking to you. It's because he gets on base.
Yeah.
Little story time real quick. I want to stop for just a moment. I met Stephen Kwan last weekend.
Yes, you did. I'm so
I
jealous.
got a picture. Him and my wife and I went to go
You're
see
gonna
Stephen
have to throw
Kwan.
that. You're gonna have to throw that up on the Guardians Land Twitter feed if you don't mind. I think that the everyone needs to see who you met. You met someone else along with Mr. Kwan. And
that's in my profile
cool.
picture. You can easily see that. Aaron Savali came to visit Stephen at his signing to just support his buddy. It was super cool. And he just hung out. If you're wondering what it was GV Art did a signing with Stephen Kwan. They released his t-shirt. So if you bought the t-shirt, you got to meet Stephen Kwan, and then he had posters that he signed. And so my wife and I, we went and grabbed that Stephen Kwan shirt. And I have to tell you, he was so grateful for all the people that came out to see him. He was so grateful and took pictures with everybody and wanted to talk to everybody. And just, I'll say a little bit later in Lindor's tenure with the Indians, he started to get a little like it seemed like he was too good to kind of interact with fans.
I would agree with
Kwan
that.
At this point in time is just so thankful for, I think, everything he has and the love that he is getting. And that comes out. It was very, very genuine. A very good friend of mine has a couple little boys that are half Asian, and Stephen Kwan is their favorite player. And I had his profile picture, and I told him, I said, hey, my buddy couldn't make it today. I'm going to give him one of the posters because you're their favorite player, because you look like them. For them, that means a lot. There's now a player on their local team that looks like them. And I said, would you mind just recording a little like video for me, just saying hello? And he was happy to do it. I sent it to my buddy, and he's like, this is incredible. They've watched it like 25 times.
The city of Cleveland is good for one thing, and we love players that not only produce in their sport, but give back to the community and do things like this. And cheered on his teammate. Savali didn't have to be there. No. It was Stephen Kwan's event. Savali could have been sitting at home. He had just come off the injured list because of his butt. He was a pain in the butt, or had a pain in the butt. He could have come off he could have been resting. But no, he took time out of his schedule and came down to a signing to be there for his teammate and to support him. That's awesome. I like stuff like that. That makes me like this team even more than I already do. This team has grabbed the attention away from the Cleveland Browns right now, as the Browns are going through all sorts of turmoil with the whole Deshaun Watson stuff, the saga, as I call it. And now you've got basketball just starting to pick up, Cavs making some moves here and there. But right now, I think that the Guardians have the city's attention. You're winning games.
That's good. You wish they would have won a few more at home, especially in that Red Sox series, because it was the weekend series. The weather was beautiful, but they've won, like I said, they've won 7 out of the last 7, and they're a game out of first place. Incredible wins versus the Twins in the last 2 games. We do have breaking news that we need to share with you.
Breaking news, two breaking news in one episode. Oh yeah. My goodness. I told you guys he's a wizard. I told you. I'm sticking by it. Bryan Shaw is a wizard. That's it.
From Andre Knott, tonight's game is postponed. Doubleheader tomorrow, noon and 6.
So they're going to do a traditional day-night doubleheader. So there you go, Guardians fans. You get a night off. Don't have to worry about the weather. Be able to sit back, relax, and get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's weather is supposed to be a little bit cooler, but I'm not going to do Brian's job for him. He is the meteorologist. He can tell us all about the weather for tomorrow and what to expect. But one other thing I want to talk about, your namesake is killing me right now out of that Guardians bullpen. I had to say it. I was going to say it when we were talking about the bullpen stuff. And then you kind of were talking about Straw. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's getting ahead. We got to loop back here. Bryan Shaw is killing me out of that bullpen right now.
He had a good game Thursday.
He is showing his age. Over the last 7 games, his earned run average is 10.13. That's awful. He is showing his age. He's leaving balls up over the plate, and guys are teeing off on him. What can we do, Brian?
I think this team needs James Karinchak back ASAP.
They do.
I think they're exhausted. I think the bullpen is taxed. Not only was the Twins bullpen taxed, but so is ours. Yeah. So that's part of the reason why you can talk about, Eli Morgan's struggles and potentially Bryan Shaw's struggles. But part of that too is Tito is loyal to a fault. And I don't, even though he shares a name with me and I have defended him, I don't like how Tito often does put him in some high leverage spots. But he did have not a 1-2-3 hit about it the other day, but a scoreless, hitless inning in the walk-off win on Thursday. So,
okay. Well, here, if anybody knows anything about the Guardians and Tito, how many times did he use Shaw last year? Like 79 times, 79 times out of 162 games, 79 times. Guys, that's a lot. And he is. I mean, Tito is loyal to a fault. He was like that in Boston. He's doing that here in Cleveland. I mean, Anthony Castro, the guy that they picked up in the Bradley Zimmer deal with the Blue Jays, he's been absolutely torched his last couple times out. I couldn't agree more. James Karinchak needs to be back in this bullpen. We need to ease him into that setup role. Maybe Nick Sandlin has figured it out in Columbus. I know they sent him down to work on his mechanics. I have not kept up with what he's been doing, but yeah, I couldn't agree more, Brian. The bullpen is taxed. They're tired.
Shaw in June had 12 game appearances. He gave up 2 home runs, 10 strikeouts, 8 hits, and 6 walks. The walks are concerning, but his opponent average was only 216 in June. It feels like because of where he is put is that when he does struggle, those struggles are highlighted.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
He's a veteran. I mean, his earned run average this year is 511 so far. And this was after his appearance on Thursday afternoon. He's older. I get that. We expect him to come in, get the job done, go 1, 2, 3, and move on to the next guy in the bullpen.
Yeah, he's not the 2016, 2017 Bryan Shaw.
No, he's not. He absolutely is not. I mean, Emmanuel Clase has been great. Shout out to Trevor Stephan. I don't think that guy gets any respect out of the bullpen. For him being a Rule 5 pickup from the Yankees, Trevor Stephan has done nothing but impress the heck out of me. He looks really good. And then you've got guys like De Los Santos. He's looked pretty good. He's had a bad outing, I think, at once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
But De Los Santos was one of those names that when I think he made the opening roster, correct? Or he was a quick
he was called. Yeah, he was a quick call up, I think.
But I would say that most people were like, who is this guy? And he's been a pretty stable presence in the bullpen. I do think they're tired. I think they could use some help. There was a lot of rotating back and forth with guys from AAA to get extra arms up here. You had Connor Pinkerton. Oh, I am editing all that out.
Wow, that was bad. It's Pilkington.
It is Pilkington.
It's Pilkington. Right. I'm sorry, Pilkington. Connor Pilkington. Got it. He was the pickup from the White Sox for Cesar Hernandez.
He's made some spot starts.
Yes.
He's gotten called up, but then I'm going to butcher another name. Gibbo.
Yeah, we're going to go with that.
Ian Gibbo.
Yeah, he was up for one game and then designated for assignment.
And got picked up by the Dodgers.
He did. Congratulations. I wish you well.
They've been shuffling guys because
and then you got to look at something else. And this is a glaring fact too. Tristan McKenzie. He's had a couple really bad starts. Cal Quantrill hasn't gone deep into games like we're used to seeing. Savali was injured. Bieber hasn't looked Bieber-esque.
Quantrill just went 8 the other night, right?
Fantastic. About time.
Bieber is a weird anomaly where it's like one mistake ruins his day.
Yep.
It's one pitch left over the plate and boom, it's a 3-run home run. Or
right.
One pitch left over the plate and cleared the bases and gave up 2 runs. Tristan's a little bit of a concern. I will say that if this continues in the next couple of starts, I think you have to strongly consider trading for a back end starter.
Yeah. And I think, guys, if the Guardians are continuing to impress and take series, they're definitely going to be buyers at the trade deadline. We've said that. They're in the thick of the wild card hunt. They're one game back in the division. This team knows that it's missing a few pieces. You've got Franmil Reyes, who is slowly maybe coming out of his slumber, maybe not. Maybe he's rolling over and hitting the snooze bar. I don't know. We're hoping he can catch on. Jose's, going to continue to carry the team. Rosario, Jimenez, Kwan, those guys are going to continue doing what they do. Catching, like, we know that our catchers aren't going to hit well. By the way, welcome back, Sandy Leon. We didn't even talk about that. Guardians had a panic moment. Austin Hedges goes to the injured list with a concussion, the 7-day injured list. Well, they thought they could call up Brian Lavastida from AAA. Unfortunately, he was placed on the AAA injured list with a strained hamstring, thus leaving the Guardians without a catcher on their 40-man roster. So we called up the Cincinnati Reds and said, hey, we're going to send you some money. Can you send us Sandy Leon? Because we actually need to put him in the lineup today.
How much do you think they bought him for?
I don't know. I hope for his namesake, like $5, maybe 10. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't try to figure it out. Hopefully it wasn't $1 or a quarter or a penny, but we got Sandy Leon, another light hitting defensive catcher, but it is what it is. Luke Mailey's not hitting well.
I just did a quick sort by all catchers in Major League Baseball. Yeah. There's only 3 catchers hitting over 250 in Major League Baseball.
See, guys, so maybe the
your
Guardians
boy Wilson Contreras is one of them.
Well, and the Cubs actually tweeted out a photo of Wilson Contreras taking grounders at third base the other day. I wonder if they're showcasing him for other teams.
That's possible.
I say that, and the Cubs came back and won today against the Red Sox, but I digress. It's fine. It's the Cubs.
I mean, we would say Salvador Perez is one of the better hitting catchers in
Salvi's been incredible over his career. Yeah.
He's batting .211 this season. Wow. So it's just the position.
It is.
Hey, Gary Sanchez batting .223.
No. Gary Sanchez is not an elite catcher. No. Gary Sanchez is not in that conversation. Not at all. But yeah, I mean, look at Yadier Molina. Look at these guys. I mean, if you hit around 220, 240, I guess that's considered good. And the Guardians have been okay having 8 really solid hitters in the lineup and saving a catcher as a defensive whiz, because that's what Hedges is. He's amazing. Calls a phenomenal game. The pitchers trust him. I mean, it's great. But I do think the Guardians make moves here coming up towards the trade deadline. They're going to bolster this team. Wow. As I'm talking, gigantic raindrops are falling at my residence right now. Sounds like it's pouring. So that's wonderful. But I do think the Guardians make a few moves. I don't know if it'll be like a big splash. Might be a bullpen guy. It might be a platoon bat, maybe. Maybe a back end rotation guy.
It does seem most of the rumors are centered around pitching, which is a surprise. I would like to see, I don't know. It depends what they do, because if they trade for an outfielder, then
we know which outfielder you might as well just say his name. We know Bryan Reynolds is at the top of your shopping list.
Yes, he is. Absolutely. But if they do that, or if they trade for somebody else not named Bryan Reynolds, Oscar Gonzalez has hit a little bit of a skid, but so did Stephen Kwan at one point in time. Do you want to take away more at bats from those guys?
Not necessarily, unless it's going to guarantee us going deep in the playoffs, then yes. You like how I worded that?
Yeah, it's something to consider. We've talked about this several times over the last several weeks. They have a slew of guys on the 40-man. They can't keep them all. There's a bunch of guys that are ready. You can package some of those guys and get some major league ready players, or players under a couple of years of control. The trade deadline will be interesting, but after this Yankees series, they have some very, very winnable games in the next 5 series before the All-Star break. And we've been teasing this for a little while. Do we want to tease it more? Are we going to miss our 2-week by a couple of days?
I don't think so. Let's see. Hold on. Let me look. Well, we would record, today's the 1st, we would record again on the 15th and then again on the 29th. So we would actually record beforehand. But that's only a few days before.
Well, that's what I mean. Do we skip Friday?
I think we might
skip that Friday.
I think we might. If it's a guarantee, which I know you and I are on board. We're just waiting on an X and O type deal. Go ahead, Brian. What are you teasing? What's this? What are you talking about?
We'll put it this way. If we don't do a podcast 2 weeks from this Friday, it means we're going to be live on Tuesday, the 19th, and do our show then.
Absolutely.
Right in the middle of the All-Star break. There'll be a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We will have the Yankee series. We will have all those series that I had just mentioned. We'll be getting closer to the trade deadline. So there will be a lot to talk about, and we're going to do it live.
We're doing it live. We may have a special guest. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, if we go live, it's going to be epic. You'll have to come and meet us and tell us that our opinions are great and that you love us.
Well, Mike, where can people, when we make this announcement official, where can people find that announcement?
We are at Guardians Land on Twitter. That's where it will be first and foremost, unless Weatherman Bryan Shaw tweets it out. And then we will
at WXSHAW.
And we'll just share the stuffing out of it. I am on Facebook and Twitter at Mike Vorhies. Come find us. Come talk to us. We will be happy to meet and greet and talk and all that fun stuff. But man, oh man, Brian, a roller coaster ride indeed. I got my hands and feet and all other objects inside this car at all times, because this roller coaster has been nothing but exciting and fun. I don't want it to end. So
I love the current nickname, and I already have my t-shirt ordered from GV Art.
And it's what?
The Guardiac Kids.
Yes, I think that's a phenomenal name. 17 last at bat wins, guys. Walk-offs. I mean, this team is epic. If Josh Naylor does not win Hype Man of the Year, I don't know what to say.
Mike, I'm gonna leave the fans with this.
Okay.
Do you want some smoke?
I want all the smoke. I want all the smoke. I want to be Josh Naylor. Give me the smoke. One other quick tidbit. I wanted to see if you caught this. During the post-game celebration Wednesday night after Naylor's 2-run home run, did you see who Josh Naylor headbutted after the home run?
No batting helmet is safe with Josh Naylor, even when it's on Terry Francona's head.
Tito Francona puts on a batting helmet and Josh Naylor headbutts the batting helmet. Josh Naylor did not have a batting helmet on. He just headbutted the batting helmet worn by Tito Francona. That's how hyped this guy is. He's not afraid. He wants all the smoke. I want that shirt. That's the shirt that I want, is Do you want the smoke?
This has been a free commercial for GVR, but they have that one too.
I'm going to get it. I will order it now. As soon as we're done, I will hop on and order it. I want that shirt. If we're going live, no better way than to show off that beautiful art. So Brian, as always, super fun talking about the Guardians and where they've been, where they're going. Oh, so much fun.
Let's steal some games from the Yankees.
Let's get it. Watch this team. They're going to be exciting. Doubleheader tomorrow, folks. Catch Bryan Shaw on Fox 8 News out of Cleveland, Ohio tomorrow morning.
Saturday morning, Sunday morning, 7 to 10 a.m.
There you go. See him. Until next time, guys, buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride.
Take care, everybody.
Part of the Press Play Podcast Network.